Stephanie Harper from the starting lineup and All Women's Sports Talk Show. Check us out every Tuesday from 8 to 9 on ClevelandTalkSports.com.
Welcome back to another special edition of the Starting Lineup. I'm Therese Janine.
I am Kelly Denise.
And I am Tiffany Sars. Again, we want to welcome you. I know you missed us last week, and we are so sorry for that, but we're here to make it happen for you. So, how was your break, ladies? How was everything for you?
I missed it. I missed the week before that, so I feel like I haven't seen everyone in a long time.
I've been stuck in snow, and I've been stuck in ice since this Cleveland weather is ridiculous. It's really cold outside.
Freezing.
Freezing.
Freezing. I think with the wind chill, it's probably like 0.
That's ridiculous. Hello, 0. We're coming here back at you guys to give you some hot sports and entertainment news. Ladies. Oh, wait a minute.
I'm bringing my Pittsburgh stuff at the next segment.
Pittsburgh.
Black and yellow. I'm still down. I forgot.
Right.
Yeah,
Black and yellow. I thought it was green and yellow.
I think it was.
They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl. And I'm gonna really give it to them. Because out of all, they have the most Super Bowls in history.
Well,
Green
not
Bay.
Super Bowls, championships.
Right. Well, Green Bay.
Yeah.
And, wait a minute.
Really, the Lombardi Trophy is named after Vince Lombardi,
right,
the coach, because they won the first two Super Bowls.
Super Bowls,
so,
right.
They're deserving. They deserve to get it back.
They did. It was a great game. Hats off go to all the cheeseheads. I am still loving the Pittsburgh Steelers, and after the break, I will represent with Palomalo's jersey, which he didn't represent as well as I thought he would.
But you know what? Palomalo hasn't showed up for the last couple games. When they beat and played Baltimore, he wasn't there. I don't even know if he was playing. He was non-existent. He wasn't the same Palomalo. James Harrison, you really didn't see too much of him this Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
I'm
sure that's probably what that Green Bay was totally focusing on to make them non-factors, and they really were. Troy, I don't think he even had a tackle until the fourth quarter.
Right, when he attempted, and it wasn't that he kind of like hit somebody. They still got in the end zone. Boom.
They
7.
did.
Right, and actually both touchdowns were against Troy too as well. So it was just, without him in the game, he's a huge game changer. So if you make him a non-factor, that's.
But we have to give big ups to the MVP winner, Aaron Rodgers, and now they were talking about, he's finally out of Brett Favre's shadow. But before we really go into that, when we're speaking about how non-existent the defense was, now they did come back, so we would have been crazy not to believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to actually come back against this team. If anybody, they should be known as the cardiac kids for diehard fans looking at these teams not playing like they normally do. But Green Bay doesn't even have a running back. They don't even have a factor. So all of those points and most of that stuff was put in the air.
Yeah.
James Sparks is 57 yards, and they held Mendenhall for the Steelers. So this game was basically all about the receivers, making plays down the stretch. I will give it up to Antoine Randall, okay, because he was a playmaker. But Green Bay was out of their top receiver.
And if you think about it, if you look at both defenses, they both were strong. Mm-hmm. They were both almost identical in how they approached the field, and it was all about offense at that point.
Yep.
Because you knew going into the game that it was going to be pound for pound, fight for fight. They were going to both be head to head.
Two hard-nosed defense.
Right. So then you get two hard-nosed defense. You get one guy who you expect to perform like Palomalo, and he doesn't do like you would. It was I didn't even see Casey Hampton.
He was in.
I see him making those. He was hot. he was real tired. Every time I see him, he just looked defeated. So I don't know whether or not Green Bay's line was really handling the Pittsburgh line, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't even have a pick. He didn't have an interception.
Right. Okay,
Right.
here it is. I think this is what it comes down to. Turnovers. Right.
There you
Green Bay
go.
did not have a turnover, and the Steelers did, and that's really what it comes down to. 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. That, I mean, really, that alone is going to say who's going to win the game.
That fumble by Mendenhall,
Right.
we're sitting and we're looking at him, but he needs to control that ball. He needs to cradle that ball. He kept holding it all out here, and then bam, right, and then he gets smushed by 2 Green Bay defenders, and
I mean,
out goes the ball.
Yeah, a
right,
lot
the
of
game
mistakes.
could have.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the game could have swung completely the other way if
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened. I mean, that was in the 4th quarter. The score was, I believe, 21-17 at the time, and they were in Green Bay zone, and that's when he fumbles it. I mean, think, if they would have scored there or gotten that field goal, anything, I mean, that would have been a completely different game.
Yeah.
Picking up that 2-point conversion was definitely something that helped them, because if they had a score, it would have put the game kind of out of reach for
Right.
Green Bay.
They had to go for it.
Right,
I mean,
they
that
had
wasn't
to go for that, and I was glad that you see that they actually went for it, because I was looking at, okay, now when Auburn played Oregon, they were, everything was about a trick play, and everything was about taking risks, even when you didn't think any existed. But then you come to the NFL, and the game was kind of coached really conservatively on the Steelers' part, because you didn't really you have your playmakers in there, but you really didn't utilize them. I didn't see
They
it.
weren't utilizing their fullest potential. And then the good and the not so good thing, when they interviewed Coach Tomlin at the end, and they asked him some questions, what do you have to say about how your team played and so forth. I mean, basically he said, I don't really have anything to say other than, we lost, and it was a fair game. And hats off to him, because a lot of times in those situations, you find that the coaches are so upset because that's what they want to do. They want to win that Super Bowl, that they don't even think about what the players are going through or whatever, or if it's a win, it's about them. And at the end, I also heard that he shook every player's hand and thanked them for playing on his team. And, if that's what I mean about an organization, an infrastructure, a true institution. That's why I love that team. It's about the whole entire piece of it, because you won't get that in any other. I have yet to see that happen in any other professional sports or in Cleveland's football team. I mean, they can't even keep them.
Yeah,
let alone make them.
I mean,
can't keep a coach. So when you look at all of that, you think, what, he accepted the loss in an honorable way, and he knows what he needs to do.
Choice.
But I'm saying, but he knows what he needs to do next time. He wasn't blaming any players or this, that, and the other, because it all falls down on the coach.
But you know what? Let's not forget that they did start the season without their quarterback, so no one really thought they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we do talk a lot. I do talk a lot about Pittsburgh, but I mean, you have to give props where it's due, because even when they didn't have their starting quarterback, they still went 3-1 without him, and they still made it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But it's just all the things that they were doing, and all the, between James Harrison and all the hits throughout the year, and, Troy with all of his miraculous plays, none of that showed up.
Right.
And
actually
they had,
player of the year.
yeah, they had all of their players besides Maurice Pouncey. They had all of their players. Right. So, what was your excuse?
Do you think, and anybody can call in and answer this question, but do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers rested on their laurels? Do you just think, hey, we've done it 6 times,
You never know.
we're not going to play as hard. So what? If we win, if we don't win, we still getting paid, even though it's not that much money. But I'm just saying, do you think that they really were like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I know they play hard, but I just didn't see them there.
They still played really hard. I mean, the Pittsburgh they let in rushing yards, time of the possession, first downs. I really just think what it comes down to is those turnovers. I mean, but, you give all the props to the Steelers, but really where it comes down to, Green Bay won, and you got to give them their props. And especially the way they had to do it. I mean, they hadn't been there, so this was all
14
new.
years.
Right, this was all new to them, whereas like the Steelers had been there, done that. And the biggest thing that we're not talking about is the huge injuries they had in the second quarter.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
all of their players were gone.
Right.
Like,
we lost Charles Woodson.
Right.
And then right after that, another like a little nickel back, what was his name, Sam Shields, and then they also the receiver Donald Driver.
Right. How do you lose Donald Driver?
Right.
And he was sitting there, but you know it's funny. I don't know what I was cooking and on the grill, and I come back and I look at Driver on the sideline. I'm like, okay, he's just sitting out. Then they just like pan down to that big boot on his foot. I'm like, oh my goodness,
right,
okay. Right. But they still. But what you could see is that they did not believe that towards the end, because they didn't score. Green Bay didn't score hardly in the second half until the end, close to the end of the game. So they were looking at, they need those receivers. They needed Donald Driver. They needed him, but they had one playmaker.
Who's that?
I don't know. One.
Yes, you
But no, they,
who that?
you know who that is. But I'm just so excited. I was happy. I was the only one in a Steeler household that was going for Green Bay. So it was kind of boring for me because I was kind of like high-fiving myself, like, yay. But I think it was very entertaining. But it was also, you're like, when is the Steelers going to kick into gear here?
Yeah, I was surprised that. I knew that they were going to come through, but I thought that they were actually going to take it that extra mile, and I just really didn't see the eye of the tiger. I didn't see it. No.
That's why this is plain and
Black
sad.
and yellow.
Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow.
All right.
Easy. We'll be right back. Don't forget, give us a call, 216-672-4300.